in this particular interview, Swami materialized a little monkey, which was only 5 inches tall.
A real live monkey or a
Absolutely, yes, absolutely live. It was like that, sort of 5 inches, and this little monkey sitting between the two hands. And then Swami goes like that, and then it becomes 9 inches.
The monkey does.
Monkey does. And then it goes 15 inches, and there's a 15-inch tall monkey sitting between the two hands. And then he lets the hand go, and the monkey jumping around in the room. So it was definitely a live monkey.
I think maybe we have problems in our life because Swami wants to make our faith stronger. He wants to make us stronger.
The work that you do, I think it's pronounced vibronics.
Correct, vibrionics.
Vibrionics, and it's unheard of in many corners of the world.
Well, vibronics simply means a system of healing by means of vibrations. You know, these vibrations, you cannot see them, you cannot hear them. They are in the form of electromagnetic waves. And then Baba blessed us, and so we actually made a machine which will make these vibrations. And Baba actually helped us a lot.
Welcome to part 2 of the story of Haime and Jit Aggarwal, 2 people living at Sai Baba's ashram in India who are continuing their selfless service to others by teaching a vibrational form of healing. This is quite a change from their earlier years living in Oxford, England, where Dr. Jit Aggarwal taught at the university. This interview was recorded in January of 2013 in Prashanti Nilayam, India.
So I'm just going to take a guess here, Haime. It seems to be, generally speaking, the men have the doubts, and the women have either fewer doubts or no doubts. What about in your case?
Well, certainly in our case, I never had any doubts about Baba. I might have had doubts about myself, whether I'm good enough, etc., etc.
I hope those went away very soon.
But I never had doubts about Baba. I know one year, I think it was like November 92, Jit came back from Prashanti Nilayam. We were in Delhi. And when he came, he just said, I'm not sure whether Baba is God. So I usually, at that time, I don't like to argue with him. I may argue with him a lot of other things, but never argued with him about Baba because I knew it would get cleared soon. And just before he came, my father-in-law, he told me several things that, there is some publicity about Baba, and, and he was saying about him that he's all the time going to Prashanti, and, it's not right, etc., etc. So when he came back from Prashanti, he said to me, I don't think Baba is God. So
That had to hurt you a whole lot, I would think.
Yeah, so he said we changed our life completely, and I think his exact words were, we've invested in the wrong person. And so I asked him what had happened. So I think he had seen some materialization which he thought was actually not materialization. And I think later on we realized that Swami did that many times to strengthen your faith.
As a friend of mine once said, if you take somebody who's a skeptic to see Sai Baba, and he thinks that Baba will fake a materialization, Baba will fake one to make that person feel even more justified in turning away.
Yes. And then I said to him, look, why don't you write a letter to Swami? Because he's the only one who can, reassure you or whatever. So we both sat down and he gave Swami 3 options, that either you come to me in a dream, because he never had a dream of Swami, and a very vivid dream which I remember the next day. Or the other alternative was that Swami should materialize something in front of him next time he goes to Prashanti. So pull his sleeve up, and for sure for him to see that it is real. And the third thing was, because he thought it would never happen to us, let some vibhuti or something come on a picture of Swami in our house. So we went for a walk, and as he was going to drop the letter in the letterbox, a thought came to him. He said, if I send this letter, somebody reads it, might tell Swami this. All this, how the mind works. So he said, if he's God, he doesn't need to receive this letter. I don't need to post it. So we brought it back and put it on our altar. And I think after that he forgot about it. A week later, when our youngest daughter Shivani, she was doing Arati to Swami's picture. She is very devoted, and right from the beginning she took to Swami. And then she just said, she saw some streaks of Amrit on one of Swami's pictures.
Really?
And she said, Amrit. So his father was there, and he was upstairs. This Amrit came downstairs. So we tried to call him, and he said, what is all this fuss about, kind of thing. Anyway, we eventually dragged him down. So when he came down, what he saw was that outside the glass, there were dried streaks of Amrit, but in the meantime, it had gone inside the glass. So it was between the picture and the glass. So I think then he just felt quite bad, really, that he, doubted Baba, and he was almost in tears. And we decided to come back to Prashanti, during the Christmas vacation. And Swami called us, and Swami told us at that time, he told us that I sent you Amrit through Shivani for you too.
He did say that?
Yes, he said. So he said, that's it. I mean, for me, this was never the issue, but still it was nice to hear it from Swami.
What are you going to do the rest of your life?
Whatever Swami wants. We don't have any plans, and I think, maybe right from the beginning, but at least we know that since 90, when we first saw him, he has been doing everything. He has been telling everything. And whatever he tells us.
And are you finally, as a family, beyond doubts?
We don't have any doubts about Swami's divinity. We may worry about things. I think even that is a kind of doubt, in the sense that you don't have 100% trust that everything will be smooth, which of course it never is. But apart from that, no, I mean, we have not any doubts that Swami is God.
Say a final word on that, because you seem to say it with such firmness, which of course there never is steady smoothness in a family, in a person's life. If a person's never married and successfully accumulates significant wealth to live out a comfortable life for the next, after 40 years or 50 years, it still applies. Smooth lives just don't come by easily for people, especially those on a spiritual path. Why?
Well, our life is pretty smooth that way. I mean, we do have problems every now and then, but nothing big really. I think maybe we have problems in our life because Swami wants to make our faith stronger. He wants to make us stronger.
And part of that is to give you an opportunity to serve your fellow mankind.
Yes. And to grow spiritually.
And the two can go hand in hand. As you do seva, you learn how to grow and provide seva towards yourself.
I hope so. I think I would say that I'm not doing any seva. I'm only working for myself. It gives me joy, and it's for my own spiritual growth.
But I do know that you play a very active hand in helping Jit in a great collective seva for humankind, and we'll have him, if it's all right now, talk about that. So Jit, I take issue a little bit with Haime, because she says she's not a help. She says she's not doing anything, yet I'm aware of how much she's been a magnificent aid in your collective work here in your flat in Prashanti Nilayam, which we haven't touched upon yet. So let's take some time and talk about that.
So you'd like to know what we actually do,
Yes.
etc.? I think perhaps...
Before we get into that, because I asked Haime, but I wanted to make sure, and Jody reminds me too, to make sure if there has been a last doubt, or is there still room for doubt before we close the door on that?
Well, I think I can truthfully say that, thank goodness, at last, the doubts are totally gone. I think we wouldn't be so devoted to Swami now if the doubts were still there.
Yeah.
I think we would have left long time ago. And especially people have said to me, and I think you've mentioned earlier on, that, you know, now that physical departure of Swami has taken place, you are still living here in Prasanthi. So that confirms that, you know, we are devoted to him. And I think, obviously there are no doubts. They've gone long time ago. But I think they did go on for, I would say, definitely for a long time, for 5 years definitely in the beginning. And at times I'm absolutely 100% convinced. I've actually cried, I apologized to him, and I've said, Swami, why was I so foolish? Last time I promised you I will never have those doubts again. And I've convinced myself, you have given me enough proof of your divinity, I will not have doubts. And again I had doubts after that. It happened a few times. And I
Same
really
for me.
felt, really,
This car would come by, and I'd be sitting there in the VIP line because I had this gift given to me, a blessing that I didn't merit, but I'd hand him a letter, and on the outside of the letter would be a little headline. I'm a journalist, so I put a synopsis, you know, just a brief overview of the letter on the outside. And it said, Swami, one more sign, please. One more sign of his divinity. And you know, you get to a point where you start asking yourself, when's enough going to be enough?
Yes.
And I think this is an instructive discussion really for men and some women who might also harbor doubts from time to time, to let them all know how normal it is, and that you are reeled in sometimes quickly and sometimes very slowly.
yes, I think not only normal, but I think I would say that actually it's a good process of cleansing. Because, you know, every time you have doubts, and when the doubts are gone, your faith is even stronger than last time. This is what I felt at the end of it all. It's like, you know, he's pushing you through this washing machine, and some dirt comes out, and you know, most of the dirt is gone, but still there's a little bit left, and he takes that out as well. So eventually, hopefully, you're pure. So I think, you know, it is a process of spiritual growth when, you know, slowly you keep clearing your doubts.
Jody's asking me to ask a question. I want her to explain it because she said, what was the end? What do you mean by that?
I'm asking if the doubts gradually dissipated or if there was a crescendo, a big event that ended it all.
I think, I think I would say they gradually disappeared because, as I said, if you are getting cleaner, then obviously, you know, that as the dirt is going out, you are gradually, yes. It's a gradual process.
I want to talk about how your pastime is used up in a very constructive way here in a minute. But first, two quick questions. And Jody reminded me that I should really ask about something we had some clarification on, but there's still an intriguing element about a monkey being materialized for a devotee. It wasn't in your presence, but something happened when that devotee came out that you did see on your own.
Well, I think you probably heard the story, but in this particular interview, Swami materialized a little monkey, which was only 5 inches tall.
A real live monkey or a metal?
Yes, absolutely live. It was, well, we think at this stage that is live because it was like that, sort of 5 inches, and this little monkey sitting between the two hands. And then Swami goes like that, and then it becomes 9 inches.
The monkey does.
Monkey does. And then it goes 15 inches, and there's a 15-inch tall monkey sitting between the two hands. And you know, the amazing thing is, I mean, this monkey must be quite heavy, and Baba is only little, but you know, his hands are firm and steady. You know? But of course he can do anything. And then he lets the hand go, and this monkey jumping around in the room. So it was definitely a live monkey. And then suddenly there's one guy who had his bag with him, and he had a banana in this bag. So he said, Baba, can I feed him a banana, because jumping around a lot. So he takes the banana, he feeds the banana. And then, you know, he comes out of the interview room and he's discussing with everybody and saying, well, you know, I think there was just some imagination. He has already started disbelieving. He's just seen this monkey jumping around. And he thinks it must be some kind of magic he's done. Or shall we say, well, what's the word? You know, you have the hypnotism.
Yeah.
Maybe hallucination, maybe hypnotism, something Swami has done. And he convinced himself it didn't happen. It wasn't real. Until he suddenly thinks, oh my God, but I fed him the banana and I put the skin in my bag. So he puts his hand in the bag, gets out the skin. There's the skin. Oh, it was real. You know, see, can you see how powerful the mind is? You have seen everything, and he now believes, no, it didn't happen, and then suddenly he says, yes, it did happen, because he's got the proof. You know, we go for the material proof. He had to see the banana skin to actually say that it happened.
You know, sometimes people refer to Baba as an enigma. I know Isaac Tigret's fond of using that term. And I'm thinking back to the first time, I think it's the first time I met you and Haime here. It was the first trip I think I made, maybe in 1998. And Jody says to ask Jit for an interview. I was doing interviews back in 1998. We had just started in 97. And there was an interesting story that occurred because Baba showed how much of an enigma he was, even to you, in that it was hard to read his response to a question. Do you remember that episode where I'm asking you for an interview and you're telling me?
I remember you asked me for
a video interview. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that much, but I don't remember the rest of it, because at that time, I think because, you know, we were highly blessed that we had so many interviews with Baba, and we were asking Baba for every little thing.
Well, I'll fill it in a little bit, because you said, sure, I'll have no problem about that. Maybe Haime remembers. And then you said, if I get permission, I'll be happy to do it. And I
Correct.
said, well, who do you have to ask permission from? And he says, well, I'll ask Swami. And Swami says, okay. And I said, you're going to ask Swami if Ted from America can interview you? Do you remember that part?
Yes, that I remember.
Okay,
yes.
what happened then?
Well, I'm not sure. I think I did write notes for Baba. And
at that point, I had no idea that you had access to Baba every darshan.
Well, I think I wouldn't like to put it that way. I like to put Baba had access to us, like to all of us.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I am not the one who ever gets up. I've seen some VIPs, when Baba comes near them, they will actually, you know, stand themselves up and offer, and Baba will not say anything. But then Baba can be very strict, and he can actually put you down. So I'm too afraid of, you know, getting told off. So I would never do that. So I would not have access. But if he wanted to, he will ask me something.
Well,
I mean, I'm just reminding you of a little incident, if I may. And, you know, I was holding, I wanted to ask Swami something which I thought was important to me, very important. So I got an A4 sheet of paper, I cut into two halves. And on one half, I wrote this question, what I want to ask Swami. I fold it and sit in the darshan line with my hands folded. And Swami comes, and you know, I'm sitting in the veranda in the first line, right in the front. So Swami comes, and he looks at this piece of paper and he goes away. He doesn't talk to me. And I won't even extend my hand further. I'll just hold it like that. This had been my nature, habit. And I did that for 5 days. And he would look at it every time. So he knows that he'd made me known that he'd looked at the piece of paper. And he goes past it. And then what happened is, now my daughter had become very ill. Very ill. She had very high fever. So I write on the other half of the paper a note about her illness, and I take that. See, in the morning I was having the same paper. Now it looks from the outside the same paper. Swami comes, immediately he asks for the letter. The first thing he does, he asks for the letter. So you see, he knows what is inside. I think it is only for our benefit that we want to offer him a piece of paper or want to ask him something. So you don't need access to him, because he knows what is there, and he will answer, he will provide the information which you need rather than what you want.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask something. Obviously, I realized at that point it wasn't important. I thought it was important to me, but he knew it wasn't important, so he didn't answer that.
On the piece of paper that you wrote on my behalf, because I have it at home, you gave it to me, that's why I remember the story far more clearly than you do. You wrote, Pranam Swami, Sai Baba, Ted from America, a journalist here, would like an interview with me, ? And your story to me was that Swami looked at the paper, then looked at you, looked at the paper, and looked at you, and just as he looked at you a second time, he took the piece of paper and ripped it in two and said, "Who's Ted?"
Yes, correct, absolutely. But no, I remember that bit, who's Ted, because that has been in my, consciousness ever since.
And that he shook his head in such a way that it was hard to tell whether he meant yes or no.
Yes, I think that's correct.
Yeah.
Yes,
and we took it as a no, and so here we are now since 1998 to 2013, finally getting the interview. What about the work that you do? I think it's pronounced vibronics.
Correct, vibrionics.
Vibrionics, and it's unheard of in many corners of the world. It's unheard of in Sai Baba's ashram for people to have practices without Baba's specific blessing, and he gave you his blessing. But in a nutshell, because I know you could go on for hours and talk about this, tell me what it is and how you got started with it.
Well, vibronics simply means a system of healing by means of vibrations. Now, we're not talking about, of course, subtle vibrations. We're talking about not the mechanical vibrations. And, these vibrations, you cannot see them, you cannot hear them. They are in the form of electromagnetic waves.
Okay.
So we have a little device, a machine, which makes these vibrations. And we also have a number of cards which have vibrations of healthy organs stored on them. And when you insert the card in this device, it actually looks at the pattern, which is a physical pattern on a card, and it can then reproduce from that pattern the actual, actual energy pattern which the machine will produce, and you can infuse it into sugar pills or water or whatever medium you like.
So that's a potency that it mirrors from the healthy organ. let's say.
Correct. Right. And then when a patient who is ill, he ingests these pills which have been infused with vibration on a healthy organ, then the organ which was now become unhealthy will slowly go back into a healthy state. I mean, that is in a very nutshell, very simple terms. So a very simple way of treating a patient, simplistic, very simplistic view of how the vibration actually cure a disease. But what we have done is, instead of now using this machine, etc., we have actually made a box of 108 remedies, which are ready-made remedies made in this device, which can cover about 1100 diseases. So we have a book which gives you a list of 1100 diseases, and for people who learn this, is very simple. Anybody can practice a system of healing. It's of course called an alternative system of healing. The reason why it's not known throughout the world, or anywhere in the world actually, very few people know about it, is because this was invented by an American doctor.
Really?
No less than the president of the American Medical Society.
Wow.
A allopathic doctor, well known, and he invented a science called radionics. And there was the black box. I don't know whether you heard, in England it was well known, black box in the 50s, very well known. But that was based on the science of radionics. In fact, he believed in it. Eventually, the government banned radionics in the States, and that is why it's not known. But underground, it had gone to many people who knew the efficacy and the value of these vibrations. And they actually used it. In England, there was a gentleman called Dr. Delaware, who actually took this up, and he generally known as the father of British radionics, and he took it up further. Then there was another British, he was an aeronautical engineer actually, Malcolm Ray, who made the cards which trap the vibration of healthy organs, etc. So I think, it has been going at a very low level because nobody produced these machines except in London. There's only one country. And then Baba blessed us, and so we actually made a machine which will make these vibrations. And Baba actually helped us a lot, because over the years he was helping us to develop this machine further, and we were able to make a very small device, and he told us that this is as good as the old one, which was the bigger device, and so on. So,
and we should add that this is something that you're a practitioner of it here. You are also a teacher to students who are interested, and it's all for free.
Yes, I think this is entirely the grace of Baba, because in the first interview, and this is a long story, but when he blessed this machine, he called us for an interview and actually operated the machine and gave me instructions that I would like you to teach this system of healing to my devotees, to all the students in my colleges, to the super specialty hospital doctors, to make them aware, etc.
He said this to you?
He actually said this. In fact, I think it was the warden of the hostel was actually there, so he actually then arranged for me to give lectures and so on. So we did, we spread the word around, and ever since, and that was in 1994, and ever since we've been teaching the system to his devotees from our room in ashram. But also later on he sent us to many European countries where we have been giving lectures about this and making practitioners, teaching the system to them. So that, but we also take a written promise from them that they will do it totally free of charge. And they will do it as a seva activity. But you know, there are a lot of devotees around the world of Swami who are so dedicated to him. They are looking for opportunities to serve.
Right.
And being a very simple system, the way we practice it now, that, and being totally harmless with no side effects, that you know, it is very very easily adaptable to anybody. Can adapt to it. They can learn it very quickly in a matter of a month or so, and they can start practicing.
Jody wants to know how people might find out where there is a practitioner in case they want to.
Right. Well, we have a website called vibronics.org.
Spell that.
So vibronics.org, O-R-G. And if you go to the website, then it will give you an email address where you can write to a service which we provide, that you can find a practitioner anywhere in the world, and we have practitioners in 81 countries, where they will provide you free medication. And I often say, you know, you go to the USA, you cannot find anything free except Vibronics pills.
Well, let me ask you a question about this, because it really powerfully intrigues me. The modalities of, let's call it, complementary health care, alternative health care, is on multiple levels. Why this? Why here? Why you in Prasanthi Nilayam? And almost nobody else that I'm aware of.
Well, I think really it has to go back to Swami. It is not something I wanted to do. I never thought of doing healing. You know, I gave you my background earlier on. But I think it was just, again, of course, there are no chances, but it was the divine design that I was chosen. I think we were very lucky that we were chosen to handle this. And obviously Baba knew that, you know, that is what we'll be doing in the future, and that is what we are doing. In fact, I can honestly say that Vibronics is my life. That's all I do. I don't do anything else, because with his grace, we had enough money when we came to the ashram. When he called us to the ashram, at that time, we had accumulated enough money in the bank so that we can live on it, and plus a bit of pension, of course.
That's 20 years ago, so that's an amazing story. It's an amazing statement to make.
Yes.
And have you seen evidence that it works? Because you've been a doubter in Baba who blessed it. So how long were you a doubter in this?
To be honest, I think Vibronics, I never had any doubt. Yeah, I was still having doubts about Baba, but I'm not having a doubt. I think there is a very good reason for it. And that is, when I started practicing the system, you know, as soon as people heard, oh, it's totally free, and we were doing a lot in India. We were practicing, of course, in UK, where we were living, but we were also practicing a lot in India, because we were living sort of like maybe 6 months here, 6 months there at one time. And there are a lot of people, as you know, in India, there are a lot of poor people. They will all come, because it's free. No other reason. They've never heard of it. And because our pills look like the homeopathic pills, they think they're getting homeopathy, and a lot of people believe in homeopathy in India. So they will come, and the results, it is the results that speak for itself. You know, one person gets better. I mean, I'll tell you a case. I've got a case of a lady who came to us. She had problem with sleeplessness for the last 15 years.
Wow.
She came to us and she said to me, oh, you know, I have this problem. I made the pills. I put always the first pill in her mouth. And I said to her, I'll see you in a week, because, and I had asked her in the consultation that, look, how long, you know, what do you mean by you can't sleep? Because, you know, I find that difficult to imagine that one can't sleep, because I always sleep. I have no problem with sleeping. And she said, well, you know, I keep waking up, so it's not a proper sleep. I never sleep. So I said, you mean to say you never sleep? She said, okay, I'll be honest with you. If I take on average over the last 20 years, I could sleep 1 night in 7 nights.
Oh my goodness.
I said, how long have you been in the ashram? And she said, I've been here 8 days. I said, how long did you sleep? How many days did you sleep? And she said, I slept 1 night in 8 days. I gave her the pills, and of course, being a, you know, a chronic problem, and obviously it's going to take time, and I put 1 pill in the mouth, and that's what in the evening. And she knocked at my door in the morning, next morning. And she said, and I said, well, you know, we have an appointment in a week's time. She said, well, excuse me, I just wanted to tell you that I slept last night. You know, and I said to myself, well, what's the big deal about that? She slept 1 night before also, so, you know, it's another night. Anyway, I said, I'll see you in a week's time. She came back, And when she came back, I said, how are you getting on? She said, well, it is unbelievable. I slept every night from the moment you gave me that pill. And I said to her, well, better do not stop taking the pills. She said, why? I said, well, you know, this is a long-standing problem, and sometimes, even though the problem may have gone, but it may still be, you know, remnants of it may be inside the body, and we will gradually reduce your dosage. This is our standard procedure. You know, I told her that. And she said, well, to be honest with you, I never took any pills. I said, what do you mean? She said, there's a bottle. And I said, so you mean to say you only took the pill which I gave you? She said, yes, I wanted to tell you in the morning, but you were in such a rush because I was trying to get ready to go to
the
darshan.
one pill did the trick.
Yes, she said that, you know, that I'm cured. Do I need to take the pills? But you didn't give me a chance to ask that question, so I stopped taking the pills. I never took one myself. You only gave me that pill. See, now that is only one of a number of stories. Actually, to be honest, every day we heard these stories. And I even now, after having seen so many, I don't want to use the word miraculous, but truly they are miraculous cures, that I sometimes amaze myself, you know, that gosh, what has happened? Cirrhosis of the liver, which is incurable. Yeah. We had a patient in Italy. She's still healthy, living, and she was given 6 months. They were trying to find a liver for transplant. It didn't arrive. In the meantime, she took the pills and she had complete remission. So we've got many cases of cancer being cured. We had even in the beginning cases of AIDS being cured. I mean, the list is endless.
I suspect we might get just more than a few emails about more information requested, and I'll pass them on to you, and I'll use your website, which you've already given us too.
Well,
I know you don't need any more work because your hands are already full. I remember coming over the years, seeing Russians coming in here, people from Venezuela, from different countries, from different continents, lining up to be trained to do this, not just coming for their own healing.
Well, all I can say is I have to pray to Swami, Swami, please find me the manpower to handle this, because already we are handling so many inquiries. And, you know, even this year alone, we had gone to three countries. Next year, we already got workshops in 5 countries, already planned. So, you know, we need the manpower. And I think if you think that people will be lining for treatment, I would also like to say that if there are any devotees who are dedicated to Swami, would like to join us in this mission, we'll be very happy. Of course, all teachings are free because we never charge anything. All treatments are free. Only thing is that if you decide to become a practitioner, you need to pay the cost price of the equipment. And that's about it.
And it's a pretty minimal cost, as I recall,
think it's not a lot.
Haime, you get the last word, and that is that this has been just a wonderful story. And I just want to ask you the standard question I ask everybody, and I'll just extend my hand with my microphone so you can answer it. About the Baba you came to know all those many years ago versus the Baba you know today. Is there a difference? How is the Baba fixed in your mind today versus when you first came in? Just talk.
When I came to Baba in the beginning, I looked upon him as Krishna. And slowly, because we had so many, personal interactions with Baba, he became the head of my family, to whom we went for all the advice, all the support, everything. And now I think he's both. He's still the head of my family, and he's God.
Haime and Jit, thank you very much. This has been wonderfully illuminating, interesting, fun, and I wish you nothing but continued success in your endeavors to serve your beloved Swami. Sai Baba.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for giving us this opportunity to just share a few of our thoughts. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Sai Baba.
Sai Ram.